Ramanujan for G is now available on the Google Play Store. Try it out for free.
Hello, students. Good morning. So, in our previous class, we have studied Raoult's law for binary liquids, binary volatile liquids. So, the solution of binary volatile liquids, where we have studied partial pressure of a component of that binary liquids. Suppose a binary solution of two volatile liquids A and B are there, and the partial pressure of one of the components, suppose A, in the vapor pressure will be proportional to the mole fraction of that component into the solution phase. And that this is what we studied in the Raoult's law. This is the Raoult's law. And then once, which means that PA, the partial pressure of A, is equal to a proportionality constant into mole fraction of A into the solution phase. Similarly, the another component because we have studied the binary solution of the two volatile liquids. So the partial pressure of B will be equal to, as per this law, that this same equation P naught PB naught or P naught B into XB. XB is the mole fraction of B, component B, and PB is the mole fraction of PB is the partial pressure of component B into the vapor phase, and P naught B is the vapor pressure of component B when only B is there. So similarly, P naught A is vapor pressure of pure component A. This is what we have studied. And then we have studied this graph as well. So suppose now the two components are not A and B, they are 1 and 2. And 1 and 2 and the vapor pressure of component 1 is less than vapor pressure of pure component 2. In such a case, we will obtain this kind of graph. So this P naught 1 will be when x1 will be 0, means only pure, means the only 1 is present, means there is x2, the mole fraction of 2 is 0, mole fraction of 2 is 0 means there is no 2, and second component. And we saw that we'll based on this graph we have this equation we obtained, and then we saw that we can get an straight line when we plot vapor pressure versus mole fraction of any of the component. Here is the mole fraction of component 2 we have taken. And similarly, as the vapor pressure here it increases and the mole fraction of 2 increases, we can see the mole fraction of 1 will decrease. And similarly, as the mole fraction of 1 will decrease, the vapor pressure of 1 will also decrease linearly. And as the mole fraction of 2 increases, the vapor pressure, the partial pressure of 2 in the vapor phase will increase linearly. This is what we have seen already. So this kind of behavior, so what we say, this kind of behavior is called the ideal behavior of a solution, right, of a binary solution of two volatile liquids. Means if a binary liquid volatile of two volatile components obeys Raoult's law, then we saw Raoult's law means if it obeys this graph, if it follows this graph, if it obeys this equation, or means it follows this graph, then we can say that the solution is an ideal solution. And the many other things that we saw, and also saw the Raoult's law as a special case of Henry's law, where we have seen in Henry's law, we looked at the dissolution of a gas into a solvent. Means the gas is there, now what amount of that gas will be in the solution phase, the mole fraction. Same mole fraction we have seen in the case of Raoult's law. What we have seen in the case of Raoult's law, we have taken volatile component and its vapor pressure. Now we have studied vapor pressure, then now the gaseous phase, it will be evaporated. So it's just an opposite thing, but the equation mostly equation in both the cases, the equation that is given by Henry and that is given by Raoult's, they are quite similar. As in the Raoult's law, you can see Pi is equal to Xi P naught I. This is proportionality constant. And Henry's law, this is also partial pressure is equal to, this is also Pi is partial pressure of component I, and this is a partial pressure of any gas. And if suppose it is gas I, so you can say gas I is equal to K, this is a constant, and Xi. So this is constant. Only difference is the constant that we have seen in two cases. Anyway, let us come back to the ideal and non-ideal solutions. So ideal solutions, what we have seen, ideal solutions means the solution of two volatile liquids when it follows the Raoult's law. When it follows the graph that we have seen just now, or we always this graph, if they see any deviation, whether the total pressure is equal to P1 plus P2 from the Dalton's law, we can find out that we know if the total pressure it deviates, suppose any kind of deviation here or there, it goes from below this straight line, then we say this ideal, this solution deviates from the ideal we have here. And so to understand whether what is the deviation from the ideal behavior, what is the reason behind that, before to understand that, let us understand what are the ideal and non-ideal solutions. So the just as I said, the solution which obeys Raoult's law at all compositions. All compositions means at all. In this graph, we have seen the composition of the solution is varies, but in all that at all the compositions we have seen this, the straight line is still, that means the slope is still constant. It means that all the compositions this graph is linear. So this is what the Raoult law is obeyed. So at all compositions and all temperatures, when a solution follows or obeys Raoult's law, then we say that such a solution is an ideal solution. Then the question that comes, what is the reason behind the ideal behavior of certain solutions? In reality, if someone asks you whether a solution, a really ideal solution exists, the answer is no. No solution can be ideal in reality. However, certain solution behaves near ideal, like near ideal solution, as we have seen in the case of gases as well. Almost all the ideal gases are ideal gases. We got certain equation, and we have seen the real gases deviate from those equations. This is because the real gases have certain volume. Their molecules occupy certain volumes and the deviation, but the real gases at certain temperature and pressure and that range, they behave like ideal gases. Similarly, what we see, certain kind of solutions also behave, their behaviors are close to the ideal behavior or ideal solution, though they are not exactly or perfectly ideal solution. So ideal solution can be obtained by mixing two components with identical or comparable molecular size. Remember, comparable molecular size, identical molecular size, it's not possible. Ideally, it should be identical, but comparable molecular size, we are saying because two molecules, they have different shapes, different volumes, different atomic arrangements. Ideally, they do not have, in reality, they do not have exactly identical molecular size. But if their molecular size is comparable and also their molecular structure is comparable, when I tell molecular structure is comparable or almost same or identical, it means I am saying about their functionality. And the functionality of the molecular structure is same, means the interaction between the two components will be the between the two components or molecules of two components will be the same. So because of the depending on the size and the molecular structure, the interaction between molecules differ. I hope you understand this. Means if you have a different set, two molecules are there with the same size, are there, means then another set there are two different molecules with the same size. I think their component in two different sets, whatever the molecules are there, if their size and shape are same, so you can say those interactions, the first set, those molecules where the interaction energy between them, and then the second set, the interaction energy will also be the same. This will be the same when in both the sets the molecules are exactly same. If the molecules are not exactly same, they are nearly same, then their interactions is quite similar, though may not be exactly same. So the for what does is then, for example, in a binary solution of two liquids, suppose the liquids are A and B, there could be three component types of intermolecular interactions. So like in the case of solutes and solvents, so if you look at the solutes, in pure solutes, there is solute-solute interaction. In the molecule of solutes will be interacting with each other. In the pure solvent, molecules of solvents will be interacting with each other. Now, if we mix them together, now these molecules of solutes and solvents are mixed. Now, where on earlier case, either solute So there was only solute interaction or solvent interaction. There will now in the solution will also one more interaction will evolve, and this interaction will be solute solvent interaction. In this case also there might be certain scenarios where the scenario where solute and solvent interactions will be there, but solute solvent interactions will also appear in the solvent phase or in the solution phase. And now if the solute solvent interaction, which is a new interaction which has evolved, which has appeared after mixing the two components. Now if this interaction is exactly same to the interaction between two solute particles and interaction between two solvent particles. If suppose if these interactions are same, means that if you calculate the energy of interaction or the interaction forces, whatever the quantity you can calculate, if they are exactly same, then you can say that when these two components will be mixed, they will form a perfectly ideal solution. Means so the ideal solution is formed when AA and BB molecular interactions will be same. Means the solute-solute interaction and solvent-solvent interactions are same. And also the solute-solvent interaction. What I said, solute-solute interaction is equal to solvent-solvent interaction. And the same, this interaction will also be equal to the solute-solvent interaction. If these three interactions are exactly same, exactly equal to each other, then one can say that this solution will be perfectly ideal solution. However, a solution to be nearly ideal solution, one can say that solute-solute interaction, suppose A is solute and B is solvent, solute-solute interaction plus solvent-solvent interaction will be equal to, suppose this is equal to 2 into solute-solvent interactions, then you can say that the solution is nearly ideal solution. In reality, these interactions, if the molecules are different, if the solute and solvents are different particles, the different substances, then only we can say there is solute or solvent, otherwise there is only one substance, pure substance, there is no solution. So if they are different, then this interaction is never going to be exactly equal, but that might be nearly equal, and nearly equal means if these conditions follows. And nearly equal means the solute-solute interaction plus solvent-solvent interaction is equal to 2 into solute-solvent interactions. Then we can say solution will behave, or its behavior of the solution will be near to the ideal behavior. And if this is true, this results into delta H and delta B on mixing of two liquids to be zero. I'll explain this term why delta H and delta B on mixing will be zero if these interactions are same. And based on this, so what does it mean? If the delta H on mixing, and the delta H means enthalpy of mixing, delta H mixing is called enthalpy on mixing. Means if you mix solute and solvent together, there is no heat released or heat reabsorbed in that dissolution process, then you can say delta H mixing is zero. Means whatever the heat component, sum of the heat components of solute plus sum of the heat components of the solvent is equal to the sum of the heat components of the solution. If that is equal, exactly equal, then you can say delta H mixing is zero, because it is the final delta H minus initial H. And similarly, delta B mixing is also zero. Delta B mixing is zero means if you suppose are mixing two different liquids. So suppose 10 ml of solute you are adding to 100 ml of a solute. So if your volume of the solution is 110 ml, you should get a solution of 100, which has a volume of 110 ml. It is not less than 110 ml nor more than 110 ml, because 100 ml so solvent plus 10 ml solute, it is 110 ml, and the same volume of the solution you have obtained. So delta V mixing is also zero. So means the on mixing there is no change in volume that is observed. There is no change in enthalpy or heat content that is observed. If that is there, then you can say that the solution is ideal solution. And these things, delta H mixing and delta V mixing, will be zero only when AA interaction is exactly equal to BB interaction, which is exactly equal to AB interaction. However, they might be nearly equal to zero when this condition, the another condition is followed, as I said earlier. So we can say that an ideal solution should have following characteristics, and following characteristics means these three characteristics that we mostly focus on. So as a solution should obey Raoult's law at all composition and all temperatures. And it will obey Raoult's law only when delta H mixing is zero. Delta H mixing is zero means no heat should be absorbed or evolved during the mixing. Delta V mixing is zero means no expansion or contraction on mixing. Means there is no change in volume on mixing. Means the initial volume means the sum of volume of solute plus and solvent should be equal to the volume of the solution. Similarly, heat content of the solution should be equal to heat content of the solute plus heat content of the solvent. Then this delta H mixing will be zero. So the examples of near ideal solutions are ethyl chloride and ethyl bromide solution. So why near ideal solution? As I said earlier, the note if you mix two different substances, the interaction between two different substances is never going to be exactly equal to the sum of interaction of those in their individual interactions. Means if suppose if you are mixing ethyl chloride and ethyl bromide, so interaction between the ethyl chloride molecules and ethyl bromide molecules, if you sum those interactions and then you get interaction between one ethyl chloride and one ethyl bromide molecule, those interactions are not going to be exactly equal. They may be nearly equal, and that is why what we say near ideal solution. We don't say that perfectly ideal solution you don't get usually. So the ethyl chloride and ethyl bromide solutions are near ideal solution. So normally people also say ideal solution. Ideal solution doesn't mean the perfectly ideal solution, but this is a near ideal solution or ideal solution. It forms the ideal solution. Why it forms the ideal solution? Because if you look at the shapes of these two molecules, ethyl chloride and ethyl bromide, it is CH3, CH2, Cl, and CH3, CH2, Br. And if you look at the hybridization of the carbon atoms, it is sp3 in all the cases. And also now coming to the size, chloride is a little smaller in size than the bromide, that is we know, and its chloride's electronegativity is also little higher than the electronegativity of bromide, but that difference is not that much. And also this because of the two CH3 groups, we see we do not see much change in the size, and also the correspondingly the interactions also, because there are many interactions. It also depends on the interaction between two molecules, depends on the shape of the molecule, size of the molecule, length of the chain, everything, how these different molecules are interacting at different possibilities, and what are those different kind of interactions that we have seen earlier. So ethyl chloride and ethyl bromide forms ideal solution or near ideal solution. This is because their shape is same, or the shape is sometimes also called topology, the same, and their interactions, molecular interactions between ethyl chloride and ethyl bromide, because their size is also similar, quite close, and that is equal, roughly equal to the interaction between ethyl chloride molecules or two ethyl bromide molecules. Similarly, we can see the other examples, N-hexane and N-heptane. N-hexane, normal hexane, and normal heptane. Means if you have CH3, 4 CH2 groups, and then CH3, it will be total 6 carbon. We call it as, and this is a linear chain, we call it as N-hexane. Means CH3, CH2, 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 CH3, N-hexane. Then you add one extra CH2 group between two terminus of N-hexane, it will become N-heptane, like CH3, CH2, 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 CH3. And CH3, 5 CH2, then CH3. And this is again linear. This is called N-heptane. These molecules, you can see their shape is also similar, and their size is also quite similar, because you add 6 carbon or one extra carbon you add, you won't see much difference between their size, their length. If there was only one carbon and two carbon atoms, so you can see almost twice the length, as in is almost twice or something like that. But in case of 6 and 7, that changes not much. So it means that even the N-hexane molecules will have certain interaction between them,
and in heptane, which initially before forming the solution, they were also having certain interactions. Now you mix them because of their similar size, similar shapes. What will happen? The interaction between n-hexane and heptane will be also quite similar or quite close to the interaction between two n-hexane molecules or two n-heptane molecules. The similar thing we see in the case of carbon tetrachloride and silicon tetrachloride. Carbon tetrachloride CCl4, SiCl4, they both have tetrahedral geometry that we know from the VSEPR theory or even the valence bond theory, if you remember. So it will have both will have tetrahedral shape, the topology same, and the tetrahedral shape and also the carbon silicon, they are of the same group, their size though it differs, but their actual interaction doesn't differ much. And so the interaction between two carbon tetrachloride and two silicon tetrachloride molecules is similar, quite close to the interaction between carbon tetrachloride and silicon tetrachloride molecules. And thus, such solutions also form ideal solutions. So the solution which deviates from ideal behavior are called non-ideal solutions. Non-ideal solution is the real solution. So what does it mean? If two solutions do not behave like an ideal solution, do not behave like an ideal solution means do not follow these three rules. Means it does, if a solution does not obey Raoult's law, then you can say it's non-ideal solution. If a solution, if during the formation of solution delta H mixing is not equal to zero, not equal to zero means it could be more than zero or less than zero. Or delta V mixing is not equal to zero means delta B either it could be negative or positive, could be greater than zero, less than zero. So the non-ideal or real solution do not obey Raoult's law over entire range of compositions. This is what you have to remember. At a certain composition, sometimes it may behave as an ideal solution. A non-ideal solution is the solution which doesn't follow Raoult's law over entire range of composition. An ideal solution obeys Raoult's law over entire range of concentrations or compositions. So the characteristics of non-ideal solution I have already explained. Non-ideal solutions do not obey Raoult's law. They have delta H mixing not equal to zero. Delta H mixing not equal to zero means the heat is either absorbed or released during the formation of solution or during dissolution process or during mixing of two component solutes and solvents. When you mix delta H, either it increases means the heat is released or heat is absorbed. If heat is absorbed, you say delta H has increased. Delta because this is product minus reactant. So delta H is positive means heat is absorbed. And that heat is there with in the solution. Whatever the heat it has absorbed from the surrounding, it is there with the system and in the solution form. So what you say the delta H is positive means the solution has more heat content than the individual sum of the individual heat contents of solute and solvents. And if delta H is negative, negative means heat is released, heat is dissipated during the formation of solution. And so the pot, if it is a conducting pot, you will see it became hot. And if the pot in which this resolution is happening, if it is conducting, you will see it is became cold. Like if you remember, if you mix glucose into a water and put in a glass, and the glass that is steel glass, you will see the glass became cold. It means the heat is absorbed during this dissolution of glucose into water. So there, in that case, delta S is positive. Or delta, if you see feel heat, the container became hot. It means delta H is negative. Heat is released. It is dissipated into the surrounding. It has gone to the surrounding from the system. Now means the system's heat content is less than what it was previously, means before mixing. So we call delta H negative. These things I have explained in thermodynamics. You can go and watch that video. And the delta V mixing is also not equal to zero, means it could be negative or positive. Suppose after the dissolution, the volume has increased. And after the dissolution, volume has increased means if you add the sum of volumes of solutes and solvents, and if the solution volume is more than that value, then you can say the delta V is positive, delta V is more than 0. And if what you see, if the sum of the volume of solutes and solvent is greater than the volume of the solution, or the volume of the solution is lesser than the sum of the volumes of solute and solvent, then you say delta V is negative in that case, means that is also a non-ideal solution. So if delta V mixing is 0, it is ideal. If delta V mixing is not 0, whether positive or negative, it is non-ideal. Slight difference, or it is, if it is almost equal to 0, then you can also say it's the ideal solution. But should be, if there is a substantial change, substantial difference, then you will say the solution is not an ideal solution, which is a non-ideal solution or real solution. Let us see the difference between ideal and non-ideal solutions. Ideal solutions have identical interaction between all the molecules of the components. Means what are the component molecules, and there is solute molecules and the solvent molecules in a binary solution. The interaction that could be the different possibilities, the interaction between two solute molecules, the interaction between two solvent molecules, and the interaction between solute and solvent molecules. If these interactions are equal or nearly equal, then you can say that solution is an ideal solution. Or if such solutes and solvents will be mixed to form a solution, that solution will be an ideal solution. Non-ideal solutions will have these interactions will not be the same, not be equal, means the solute interaction or the solvent interaction and solute interactions will not be equal to each other. So in such a case, non-ideal solutions are formed. The change in the enthalpy when an ideal solution forms is 0. This is what we have studied, or approximately equal to 0. And the case of non-ideal solutions, the change in enthalpy is not equal to 0. It could be either negative or positive. Either negative means for the exothermic processes, and positive means endothermic process. Means the dissolution is endothermic process. Similar things we can also make out for the delta V. The volume of mixing for ideal solutions is 0, and volume of mixing for non-ideal solutions is not equal to 0. It could be positive or negative. So highly dilute solutions can behave as ideal solutions. This is very important point that you should remember. Highly dilute solutions can behave as an ideal solutions. Why? Because highly dilute solutions will have majorly the solvent-solvent interactions. Even if sometimes solute-solvent interactions will also be there, but their number in comparison to the solvent-solvent interactions will be quite less. And the solution is highly diluted, there will be no solute-solute interactions. Approximately, there is no solute-solute interactions because solution is highly diluted and solute particles will be totally scattered. And around every solute particles, there will be enormous number of solvent particles. So there is no possibility of solute-solute interactions if the solution is highly diluted. And the solvent-solvent interactions, their number is much higher than the solute-solvent interactions. So majorly what will be of the something that will be affecting is the solute, or dominating is solute-solute interactions. And the same solute-solute interaction is there in to the solvent interactions will be the dominating in the dilute solution. So solvent interaction, and this solvent interaction was also there in the pure solvent. And anyway, pure solvent is larger in the amount, that is what we have defined the solvent, and the solute is a smaller in size. Even if this solute is solution is very dilute, means the amount of solute that you have taken is very small. So solvent is very large. Even if they are individually, initially solvent, we have to take a large volume of solvent and very small amount of solute to form a dilute solution. The solute-solute interactions are very less in number, and that doesn't much affect the overall interactions, and thus delta H mixing is nearly equal to 0 in that case. We also see deviations from the ideal behavior in the non-ideal solutions. Of course, there are real solutions, non-ideal solutions. Most of the solutions are non-ideal solutions. So why there is deviation? If there is deviation, what kind of deviations there are from the ideal behavior? And that we see here, there are two possible cases. and one is called the positive deviation, and another is called the negative deviation. Why positive and why negative? This is because of the vapor pressure that we see, that we obtain. Suppose if you mix a solute and solvent together to form a solution, in that case, and if we observed vapor pressure of a volatile component, suppose in one case there is solvent is the only volatile component. So in that case, if you observe boiling the vapor pressure of that component, and that vapor of pressure of component, you can also calculate vapor pressure from the Raoult's law. Raoult's law means the mole fraction of the solvent into the solution into the vapor pressure of the pure solvent. This should give the vapor pressure in the gaseous phase over the solution according to Raoult's law. But if you get the vapor pressure, actual observed vapor pressure or the experimentally obtained vapor pressure greater than the theoretically calculated vapor pressure, theoretically how will you calculate? From the Raoult's law. And this XA into P naught A should give you the vapor pressure for the ideal solution. But if that this value is less than the actual vapor pressure that you have obtained experimentally, means the observed vapor pressure is greater than the theoretical vapor pressure calculated from the Raoult's law. In that case, what we see, the vapor pressure is more, so this deviation is a positive deviation. And the positive deviation, another reason for that is delta H mixing is greater than 0. This is a positive number. Delta V mixing is also 0 in that case. It's also a positive number. Something is 0 then greater than 0 means the positive, and that is why we call it a positive deviation. And the positive deviation, let us, why this delta H will be greater than 0? If PA is greater than, means the observed vapor pressure is greater than the theoretically obtained vapor pressure. You should also remember, if the other component solute is also volatile, then you will find similar thing for the solute as well. Vapor pressure of solute will also be greater than, actual vapor pressure will be greater than the theoretically calculated vapor pressure as per the Raoult's law. And why vapor pressure is more? If the vapor pressure is more over the solution, what does it mean? Vapor pressure means the evaporation of the solvent is more. Solvent is evaporating more and more at the given temperature. That is why it is escaping more molecules of the solvent is escaping the solution and going into the vapor phase. And this escaping will happen if the solvent molecules are not strongly bind into the solution. And it means ideally whatever the vapor pressure or the interaction between solvent molecules were there into the pure solvent, even in the solution, that interaction is not there. That much interaction is not there. Interaction has become bigger. That is why more and more solvent molecules has gone into the vapor phase. And that means it tells that the interaction that this solvent molecule was feeling and the force of attraction it was feeling to be in the solution phase, that has become bigger. And if that has become weaker, it means what? It means that the system has already absorbed heat, because the kinetic energy is more in that case, kinetic energy of the solvent molecules. That is also, one can say, it will go into the vapor phase because the gases will have more kinetic energy. And the kinetic energy of the solvent is more in the solution. It means the system must have absorbed certain heat, and certain heat it has absorbed from the surrounding, and the one that I have said, the vessel, if it is conducting in which the solution is being formed, it will become colder. So it means it has absorbed heat from the surroundings. So delta S, the heat content of the solution has become more than the heat content when some of the heat content before forming the solution, the heat content of solutes and solvents, then delta H is positive. And delta H is positive. And another thing now is what if we are saying the interaction between the molecules in the solution is now weaker. If the interaction between molecules is weaker, they will be separated, they will be farther to each other. If they will be farther to each other, then they will occupy, entire molecules will occupy larger space. Larger space it will be occupying, it means delta V will also be greater than 0, means volume will be now more than the sum of the volumes of solute and the solvent. And that is what we get, delta V is greater than 0. So the positive deviation solution, so positive deviation from Raoult's law, and the observed boiling point of such solution is found to be less than the calculated value. So the boiling point, you can also do the calculate based on this vapor pressure. We know the vapor pressure. If the vapor pressure at a given becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure at a given temperature or at a particular temperature. That temperature we call as a boiling point of the solution or the certain solvent. And if the vapor pressure of the solution has increased, means the more and more molecules are already there, even at lower temperature in the vapor phase. Now we have to provide lesser amount of heat to reach to that temperature or to reach to that vapor pressure which is equal to 1 atmospheric pressure. And that is why what we say the boiling point has decreased. Another way to look into this is because the system to in making this solution system has already absorbed certain heat, and whatever the heat it has already absorbed from the surrounding, that much heat we don't have to provide now to boil the solution. And by that much extent, and that heat that will correspond to the temperature, so that much extent we have to provide less provide the energy, means by that much extent the boiling point will be decreased. And so the solutions with the positive deviation, they will have lower boiling point than the boiling point of the solvent. And the positive deviation, if you look at this uh, figure, so what we see, the ideally this is what one solution should follow as per the Raoult's law. But what we see, the vapor pressure is more than the one that we should obtain from the Raoult's law. The experimentally observed vapor pressure is more than that. Experimentally observed vapor pressure is more than the vapor pressure that we should obtain from the Raoult's law, that is XA into P naught A. And this is value, and this is a PA, actual PA, observed PA, which is more than the XA into P naught A. And this is what we call the positive deviation. Now you see the vapor pressure is more than the actual the vapor pressure, theoretically calculated vapor pressure. So theoretically calculated boiling point you will also have, and that theoretically calculated boiling point, now since the vapor pressure is more at than that, so theoretically calculated boiling point will be more than the actual boiling point, because the vapor pressure is more. So this vapor pressure will reach to 1 atmospheric pressure at lower temperature. That is why this boiling point will be less. So the example of the solutions which show positive deviation from Raoult's law, the cyclohexane and ethanol. Cyclohexane and ethanol, if you look at the structure, cyclohexane, you know it's a non-polar molecule. Ethanol is a polar molecule which forms the hydrogen bond. The molecules of ethanol forms hydrogen bond with each other. And the hydrogen bonding is there, it means the molecular interaction is stronger in the pure solvent, suppose it is ethanol. Now you add cyclohexanes, of cyclohexane molecules will come between two ethanol molecules, and thus it will weaken the hydrogen bonding interaction between two ethanol molecules. It means the now in the solution phase, the molecular interactions are weaker than the in the pure when it was pure solute and pure solvent. And so what we see, the vapor pressure of the ethanol will increase in the solution. And so what does it mean? It means this shows the positive deviation. Remember the cyclohexane is it's also a volatile component in both these two cases. You will see the vapor pressure of both will be more than the theoretically calculated vapor pressure. Now the other examples are acetone and ethanol. And acetone and ethanol, as also ethanol, it will have hydrogen bonding between its molecules. Acetone, there is a dipole-dipole interaction. Acetone is CH3, COCH3. This carbonyl group forms a dipole, and this dipole-dipole interaction is there between two acetone molecules. And the hydrogen bonding between two ethanol molecules is stronger than the hydrogen bonding between acetone and ethanol, because acetone can also form hydrogen bond. If some because it is acetone is hydrogen bond acceptor, it has only lone pair, and ethanol will have hydrogen bond donor, means the hydrogen atom is there in ethanol. So hydrogen atom associated to a more electronegative atom, that is oxygen. OH group is there, so this there will be hydrogen bonding. But this hydrogen bonding between acetone and ethanol is weaker than the hydrogen bonding between two ethanol molecules, and thus what we see, the net interaction after forming the solution is weaker, and that is why it also shows this solution also shows positive deviation from the Raoult's law. the acetone and benzene interaction. Acetone and benzene interaction, if you look at acetone has dipole-dipole interaction, and benzene will have the benzene is a planar aromatic molecules, and the planar aromatic molecules are there. These two molecules also form certain interactions that I have not explained till now. That is we call the stacking interaction or the pi-pi interaction. The pi-pi interaction, benzene ring will have a pi bond, pi electron cloud, and these electron clouds, because of its nature, shape somewhere positive, somewhere negative, it though these two pi clouds they interact with each other. These molecules that we call they stack over each other like two coins. If you keep one coin over the another, that we call stacking. So this is called we call a stacking interaction between planar aromatic molecules is observed, that is there in between two benzene molecules in a pure benzene solvent or the pure benzene liquid. The pure benzene liquid is there, the acetone is also a liquid. They both are volatile. But the thing is, if you mix them together, the benzene, the stacking interaction, which is a very strong interaction, will be reduced because the acetone molecule will also be coming in between. And the acetone, it also has CO group, which is planar, which has a pi cloud, but that is very smaller in size, and that stacking interaction is weaker than the benzene stacking interaction. Not only that, even if two acetone molecule, one acetone molecule is coming and forming some stacking kind of interaction with the benzene or even the CH pi interaction, but what will you see? The acetone dipole interaction will also get reduced now because you see some benzene molecule is there. So what we actually see that the net interaction in the solution has decreased, and net interaction in the solution has decreased. It means delta H will be positive, and delta H is positive means the interaction is decreased, the molecules are further to each other, then the volume will be increased, the delta B is positive, delta H is positive, and if the delta H is positive means a weaker interaction, the vapor pressure will also be more, so the positive deviation, such solutions also show positive deviation. Water and methanol, again the way interaction between the hydrogen bonding between two water molecules is stronger than the interaction between water and methanol. And though these interactions are hydrogen bonding only, but the hydrogen bonding between water and methanol is weaker than the hydrogen bonding between two water molecules, and thus this solution also forms. So this solution also shows positive deviation from the Raoult's law. Now coming to negative deviation, this is also non-ideal behavior. Negative deviation, again delta H is in this case, delta H is negative. That is why it is negative deviation. Delta V is negative, less than 0. And so we call the negative deviation. If delta V and delta H is less than 0 or negative, it means it will also correspond to the PA, the observed vapor pressure of a volatile component. Observed vapor pressure, experimentally obtained vapor pressure is lesser than the theoretically calculated vapor pressure from the Raoult's law. From the Raoult's law, you can calculate vapor pressure. We know except T naught A, and whatever the theoretical value that you obtain, that value is actually greater than the real value, obtained from the experimental measurements. So we call this solution so negative deviation. If experimental or real vapor pressure is less than this, then you can straightforwardly say that delta H mixing is less than 0. Delta H mixing is less than 0 means negative. It means heat is evolved during the process. Heat is evolved during the process means the stronger interactions has been formed after mixing, and after mixing two component solute and solvents. And so that is why delta H is negative. Delta H is negative means a stronger interaction, heat is released, a stronger bond is formed, a chemical bond is formed, or even any stronger interactions is there. It means heat is released, because in the forming such interactions, it will always be released. You can look at the equations in your physics, how the force that we call interaction is related to the energy. So now the delta V mixing is also negative. Why it is negative? Because if the interactions are stronger after the mixing amount, that means in the solution, it means this now these molecules will be closer to each other. If the molecules are closer to each other, they will occupy less volume. So delta V or the V has volume of the has also decreased, and volume has decreased means the final volume minus initial volume. Initial volume is the before mixing when the pure solute and solvents were there, sum of their volume is Now the sum of the volume of solute and solvent is more than the volume of the solution. That is why delta V mixing is less than 0 that we obtained. This is this of their observed boiling point is found to be higher than the calculated value. This is what we can also make out, that because if the vapor pressure is lesser at a given temperature, so to make of suppose the vapor pressure at a boiling point is there at this certain boiling point of a solvent was there, particular volatile component. Now if its vapor pressure has decreased, so its vapor pressure at the boiling point will be also lesser, and the vapor pressure at the boiling point when it was in the when pure component was there, that vapor pressure, but to have it boil in the solution, you need to have the vapor pressure equal to 1 atmospheric pressure. But now in the solution, at the boiling point, when boiling at the temperature when the pure component would have boiled, at that temperature the vapor pressure is less than 1 atmospheric pressure. So you have to provide certain heat, more heat, to make it boil. So the boiling point will be increased. Another way to look into the heat is released from the system. It has gone to the surrounding. Now the system has less heat content. So that much, by whatever amount it has decreased, that much heat you have to provide extra heat. You have to provide to make it boil. And that decrease is what means the boiling point will increase, because now you are providing extra heat, then the boiling point is increased. The example of this we can also see from the figure. So this is the ideal behavior that we know. It should be according to Raoult's law, it should be a straight line. And but what we see that this deviation of vapor pressure is less than the ideally that vapor pressure that we would have ideally obtained from the Raoult's law, and that this is called the negative deviation from the Raoult's law. The example of such solutions are solution of acetone and chloroform. Acetone, chloroform, if you look at the chloroform, the hydrogen bonding, the chloroform can also form hydrogen bonds, though sometimes some books also say that it doesn't form hydrogen bonds, but that's not correct. It is the weaker hydrogen bond, but there is a hydrogen one. Now hydrogen bond is more defined more universally. Even the CH can form a hydrogen bond. That is okay. That if you is not there in your uh, syllabus, but the thing is a modern thing that is still there. People are still researching it. That is there in the recent current literature. So this forms chloroform forms hydrogen bond. A hydrogen bond is there is the interaction between two chloroform molecules, and that interaction is weaker than the interaction between chloroform and acetone. Why? Because the chlorine is larger in size, and because of the larger volume, its lone pair density is, or even if you remember some negativity, electronegativity is more than carbon, so there will be some partial negative charge on the chlorine, and the partial negative, that partial negative charge is spread over entire volume of chlorine. And entire volume of chlorine, it means what? The volume of chlorine is larger, so that electron density, negative electron density is very small in case comparison to the CO. CO, the first of all, oxygen is smaller in size than the chlorine, and the second is oxygen electronegativity is more than chlorine. So oxygen will have more charge, and that more negative charge is spread over a smaller volume, and that is why oxygen is a stronger hydrogen bond acceptor. Oxygen of acetone is a stronger hydrogen bond acceptor than the chlorine of chloroform. And so this hydrogen bond between chloroform and acetone is stronger than the hydrogen bonding between two chloroform molecules. And that is why what we see, the stronger interaction is found when they were mixed, and so such solutions show negative deviation from the Raoult's law. Sorry. Examples of solutions showing negative deviations, there are some other examples as well. The acetone and aniline. Aniline, if you look at the pure aniline liquid, so aniline lone pair of nitrogen is involved in the conjugation with the benzene ring. So its lone pair density is less in the aniline. And now that it means if two aniline molecules, there is another NH bond is there in aniline molecule is NH2 and then benzene ring. Means if you replace one hydrogen of benzene ring, with NH2 group, then you will find the aniline. And the aniline, now this aniline lone pair is in conjugation, means alternate double bond and lone pair situation is there. The double bond is there in the benzene ring and the lone pair on the nitrogen. If that is there, so sometimes nitrogen will feel partial positive charge. And now if it feels partial positive charge, it won't accept, because NH bond hydrogen will also have partial positive charge on it. And now nitrogen is a partial positive charge, so it won't make a stronger interactions, and that is why the hydrogen bonding in aniline is weaker. Now, if that NH group is there and then NH group, that is the hydrogen bond donor, now if it has certain stronger hydrogen bond acceptor like acetone that I have explained just now, so it will form a stronger hydrogen bond. So a hydrogen bond between aniline and acetone is stronger than the hydrogen bond between two aniline molecules, and that is why this solution also shows negative deviation from the Raoult's law. Chloroform and diethyl ether. Again, diethyl ether was, this is C2H5O, C2H5, means CH3, CH2O, CH2, CH3. Now the oxygen lone pair is there, and the chloroform, the lone pair or the electron density is on the chlorine, which larger in size. The same analogy that we have given for the acetone, the same thing will happen also for the chloroform and diethyl ether solution. And so the chloroform and diethyl ether hydrogen bonding is stronger than the chloroform hydrogen bonding. So this solution also shows negative deviation from the Raoult's law. Chloroform and benzene solution. In the case of, but we have seen the chloroform hydrogen bonding, benzene is pi-pi stacking interaction. Now the chloroform, it has CH group, and this CH group can interact with the benzene ring very strongly through CH pi interaction. This we call CH and pi group interaction is there, and that interaction is also a stronger. That is some additional interaction, and because of that additional interaction, what we see that delta H is negative, heat is released, delta V is also negative, volume these molecules that are compacted, come closer to each other, and so such solution. So negative deviation from Raoult's law. The water and HCl solution also show negative deviation, because we know HCl is ionized in water, and after it gets ionized, means it forms H plus and Cl minus. H plus will go and it will bind to the lone pair of water to form hydronium ion, and Cl minus will also be not isolated. Cl minus ion will also be surrounded by water molecules, different water molecules through the positive pole of the water, and so there is a hydration of chloride minus ions. There is also a strong interaction in the between HCl, though it has separated HCl and water, then the interaction between two HCl or the water molecules. So this solution also shows negative deviation from the Raoult's law. The conditions for forming non-ideal solutions showing positive deviation. The non-ideal solution showing positive deviation. Why it shows? So suppose two liquids A and B on mixing form this type of solution is a non-ideal solution showing positive deviation. Then in that case, A, B attractive forces is the solute and solvent attractive forces. Suppose one is solute and another is solvent. Suppose A is solvent and B is solute. The solvent solute attractive forces are weaker than solvent and solute attractive forces, and in that case the positive deviation is there, means now the solvent is not feeling that much attraction which it was feeling when it was in the pure form, the pure solvent. And the A and B have different shape and size and character. This I have explained earlier. A and B escape easily, showing higher vapor pressure than the expected value. They escape easily. Why? Because the A and B, now their attractive interaction in the solution phase is weaker. The conditions for forming non-ideal solutions showing negative deviation from Raoult's law. Two liquids A and B on mixing forms this type of solution. This I have already explained. Just reading out, A and B attractive forces are greater than AA and BB attractive forces. BB means this AA is the solvent that I have said. BB could be solute interaction. So AB attractive means solute attractive interactions are stronger than solvent or solute interactions. So it shows such solutions shows negative deviation. And A and B have this. Why these interactions will be prevalent or stronger or weaker in positive and negative deviation? It will have when A and B have different shapes, size, and their character, their functional groups or functionality is different. Escaping tendency of both A and B is lower than the vapor phase. Lower, sorry. Escaping tendency of both A and B is lower, showing lower vapor pressure than expected. Ideally, according to the Raoult's law, and this figure I have already explained, I hope. Now coming to the azeotrophs. Azeotrophs, this is the one term that you should remember. It's also an important point. So azeotrophs are defined as mixture of liquid which boil at constant temperature like a pure liquid and possesses some composition of components, possesses same composition of components in liquid as well as in a vapor. It means azeotrope, it is a mixture, it is a not a it's a solution, it is a mixture, it is not a pure component, but it behaves as if like it is a pure component, because what we know about the pure components, pure solute or solvents, if it reaches the boiling point solutes, if it is reaches the melting point, it melts at that temperature without any increase in temperature. At same temperature, whatever you heat, provide you heat, that heat is used as the latent heat and it will melt. For the if it is if it is in the solid state, if the solute is a liquid, then liquid and the solvent is also liquid, then they will have boiling points. And about the boiling points, what we know, as soon as that temperature is reached, boiling point is reached, whatever heat you provide, the entire heat will be used in evaporation or the vaporization of the solvent. And that is because that is why we say point, which is a boiling point, because at that point, that exactly that same temperature, you will see that entire volume has entire liquid has become gas. And a similar thing that we see for the, as we see for the pure component, similar thing we see for the even for the mixture. Even though the mixture it was formed of two components, they were having different boiling points, because they are two different substances, they have different boiling points. So ideally they should, though both the components should boil at different temperatures. But if they form a geotrope mixture, the both the components will boil together, they will go into the vapor phase together. Means their composition in the solution, whatever the composition you see in the solution, the same composition you will obtain in the even in the vapor phase. So if you want to distill it, what is distillation? If two components you are mixed in a certain composition, certain percentage concentration, and their boiling points are different. So if you heat them, so the component which is more volatile, which boiling point is lesser, concentration will be more in the vapor phase. Now you condense it, take it into another vessel, you will see that component is richer, the more volatile component is richer in concentration in this case. Now you do the same thing again. So this way, repeating this many times, what will get, you can separate two components together. Whatever is there now, the leftover is the this solvent, and that the one that is distilled, that has come to the vapor phase, to the vapor phase, that is the pure one of the component with the more volatile. This is how people separate different liquids in laboratories and other places as well. I do not know about the industry, but in laboratories they do it. In the research lab, the students do it, like PhD students or the postdocs, whoever works in that. So the thing is, uh, but azeotrophs, when you heat, if you find a certain composition of these two liquids, though they have a large difference in their boiling points, if a certain, if they are mixed in a certain composition, in that or they reach that certain composition while doing distillation, you cannot further separate them, you cannot further concentrate them. The same composition you will obtain whatever times you make the distillation. And the example that we see in the case of ethanol water mixture, because the ethanol is formed during the fermentation, water is more in concentration there. Now what you do, you distill this solution, the methanol and water. Methanol water is a solution, it is usually used, and the methanol that is formed is smaller in concentration. Now you try to extract ethanol from that mixture. So what people do, they do distillation, and distillation, they initially, then the vapor phase, more ethanol will be there, they do it again. So finally, as soon as the 95% of the methanol composition is reached, 95% ethanol and 5% water, if you go to do distillation, what you will see, even after distillation, you find same composition. Means at the same temperature, like the both ethanol and water will evaporate immediately at a particular temperature, and this solution is called the azeotrophs. So azeotrophs are also called constant boiling mixture or constant boiling solution. Solution is also a mixture. Constant boiling mixtures or solutions, because whole of the azeotrophs changing into vapor state at constant temperature, and their components cannot be separated by fractional distillation. The fractional distillation, that you know the word, and it has meaning is one is more the distillation there is component is there thing is not the same. The fractional distillation, the word I hope is clear. I do not need to explain it. There are two types of azeotrophs. This is one thing that you should remember: minimum boiling azeotrophs and the maximum boiling azeotrophs. The minimum boiling azeotroph means what? The examples that we see in this case. Minimum boiling is when the boiling point is decreased, and boiling point is decreased when the vapor pressure is more. This is also this solution shows positive deviation. While showing the positive deviation, what you see the vapor pressure is more, and the vapor pressure is more than the ideal vapor pressure. So you will see the maximum vapor pressure at that a certain composition of B, and the maximum vapor pressure you see that at certain composition, that composition at which this vapor pressure is maximum, that the boiling point will be minimum, and that composition is actually nothing but it forms a minimum boiling azeotrophs. So minimum boiling azeotrophs for the solution with positive deviation from Raoult's law, this is what the figure I have shown. There is a specific composition at which the vapor pressure of the solution is maximum, and hence boiling point is minimum. And the vapor pressure, suppose in this case the graph something at here the vapor pressure is maximum and the boiling point is minimum, and this composition you can call as the minimum boiling azeotroph. This composition is whatever the composition percentage composition of A and B, or the you can also use this mole fraction to represent that, or any other concentration term. At this composition, the solution distills at constant temperature without change in composition. As I said, this type of solutions are called minimum boiling azeotroph. Example of such solution is ethanol water mixture obtained from fermentation of sugar. On fractional distillation gives a solution containing approximately 95% by volume of ethanol. Once this composition is achieved, the liquid and vapor have the same composition, and so no further separation occurs, which I have already explained. Suppose what we know in the case of ethanol and water has more boiling point than the ethanol. So if we see exactly the shape of the solution is graph will be the same. This is water and this is ethanol. This is at A. This is A is pure water and B is pure ethanol. And what we, according to Raoult's law, we should obtain a straight line means increasing ethanol concentration, vapor pressure should decrease continuously. Sorry, I'm sorry. This is ethanol. This A is ethanol and B is water. I'm sorry, because the vapor pressure is more. Vapor pressure is more means the boiling point is less. So ethanol boiling point is less than the water, so that vapor pressure will be more. This is pure ethanol. This is pure water. So as soon as you increase the water concentration, you can see that means the ethanol concentration is initially high. Pure ethanol, this is pure water. So with that, the vapor pressure should decrease, means the boiling point should increase continuously. Vapor pressure is decreasing, but this shows the deviation from Raoult's law that we have seen. Positive deviation, ethanol and water mixture, it shows positive deviation, and so it shows positive deviation means what we see that at certain concentration you see in this graph. At this graph, this suppose that 95% ethanol means initially ethanol is more. We see that the azeotroph is formed. Or then this is the minimum boiling azeotroph. Other examples of minimum boiling azeotrophs are water and propanol. Propanol, it's like ethanol, you just add one extra CH2 group and it will form a propanol. You will find this chloroform and ethanol mixture also shows positive deviation from the Raoult's law, and so it forms minimum boiling azeotrophs. Now the maximum boiling azeotrophs, to understand maximum boiling azeotrophs, you have to understand this figure now again. This figure, as I have explained, this is this component has the lower boiling point, this is a higher boiling point. So this pressure, vapor pressure is more for component A. Anyway, so what we see in the case of ideally we should get this graph as per the Raoult's law, that if this graph is followed, then we will say that solution is an ideal solution. But this is that if the solution is not an ideal solution, or the solution shows negative deviation from Raoult's law, the vapor pressure will be lower than the theoretically calculated vapor pressure, and this is what will be followed until the pure B is formed. Pure B is formed, so anyway this point will be there, and pure A and pure B. And in that case, what you see that here somewhere, here the main somewhere it will be the vapor pressure will be minimum. Okay, this is, comes like this. The vapor pressure will be minimum, and the vapor pressure will be minimum. Then the it means the boiling point will be maximum. So such solutions will form, if they form maximum boiling azeotrophs. So for the solutions with negative deviation, there is a specific composition at which the vapor pressure of the solution is minimum, and hence boiling point is maximum. As this composition, at this composition, the solution distills at constant temperature without a change in composition, and this type of solutions are called maximum boiling azeotrophs. And the example of the maximum boiling azeotrophs are nitric acid and water solution. While nitric acid, we know the boiling point of nitric acid is more than the water. So this is nitric acid, suppose, and this is water. So what we see, ideally this should follow this. As soon as you increase the composition or the percentage composition of nitric acid, the boiling point should linearly increase, or the vapor pressure should linearly decrease as per the Raoult's law. But this is not what we obtain. We obtain this graph because this shows negative deviation from the Raoult's law, and its negative deviation, what we will see at certain higher concentration of nitric acid somewhere here, what we see that it will, the vapor pressure will be lowest, and vapor pressure will be lowest means the boiling point will be maximum for this of this mixture at this composition, means the water and nitric acid mixture at this composition, certain composition is maximum, and so it will form a maximum boiling azeotroph. And what we see in the case of 68% nitric acid and 32% water concentration by mass will form an azeotroph, and this azeotroph will boil at 393.5 Kelvin. Other examples of maximum boiling azeotrophs are water and this water and HCl. We know it also shows water HCl solution positive deviation. Water and any acid, inorganic acid like nitric acid, we have seen HCl is also an inorganic acid, and this HClO4 is also an inorganic acid. But in this case, water and ethanol, water and HCl is a gas. You should remember that HCl boiling point is lesser than the water. So the graph will be reversed as we saw in the case of water and nitric acid. It will be reversed. So where the water was there, in that case it will be the HCl, and the case that is what you can understand easily. And HCl4 perchloric acid, this is also an acid, a strong acid, and it also shows it forms a solution of which shows negative deviation from Raoult's law, and at certain composition you will find a mixture that will both the water and HClO4 will boil at the constant pressure, and that is what we call the azeotropic concentration, or the this maximum boiling azeotroph. I'll stop here.